All right, so we're talking about satire. What is it? How do we use it? And kind of how does it relate to the text that we might be studying? So first thing to get out of the way is there's a difference between parody and satire. And it's best to think of these as sarcasm is sort of saying the opposite to what you think. Parody is imitating something just for humorous effect. So like we've got here, the cat in the hat, the cat not in the hat. So it's just it doesn't really say anything about the world or about life especially. It's just like if you've read this first text and you've read the second one, the parody of the text, then you enjoy it because it's humorous and it's a break from the pattern. Satire, we've got here Vladimir Putin. So he's a politician. So this image of him as a bat is suggesting something about the world. So don't trust this politician because he's a bat in this piece of graffiti. So importantly, satire is a little bit about pretending. You have to kind of put on a mask or pretend that you are one thing that perhaps you're not. So in this case, he's got the camouflage suit that pretends that he's very supportive of the army when almost certainly he's not, and he's perhaps making fun of the idea of war and military and so forth. This is Stephen Colbert. Importantly, in satire is the concept of punching up or punching down. So if you're doing something satirical just means doing satire. You can either be satirizing people below you in the power structure or satirizing people above you, in which case you are punching up. So for example, me as a teacher, if I were to satirize or make fun of, say, the Prime Minister of the United States or the President of the United States or the Prime Minister of Australia, that would be punching up because they are more powerful than me. They have more importance. If me as a teacher were to satirize or make fun of, say, my students, that would be punching down, and normally that is not well received. So it's quite, accepted that if you're the president or the prime minister, that people will, to a certain extent, make fun of you, satirize you, use you in parodies. But if you are just a normal person going about your life, say a student or a citizen, then that's much less accepted, and we consider that punching down, which is not as openly accepted. So importantly, for a parody or a satire to make sense, you need to have a shared knowledge. So I'll give you a very simple example. So this is satirical. It's making fun of sort of a very simplified and, almost vaguely racist summary, but it's saying that in China and in India they're studying very hard, and in the United States they're lazy and off topic or off the work that they need to do. So this doesn't require too much shared knowledge. You need to understand that Americans are perceived to be lazy, and that perhaps Chinese or Indian students study hard and do well on tests and those sort of things. So there's shared knowledge here, but it's relatively simple. Most satirical cartoons look a little bit more like this. And I've picked this one. I can't explain it to you. Even if you held a gun to my head, I could not explain this to you. But this is a satirical cartoon. You can see there's lots of people and they're all suggesting different things. I'm not sure what the parcels represent and who's pulling the rope and why this man's cutting the stork legs and this guy's holding a staff and all these people are sort of floating in the air. We don't have the shared knowledge on this. If we did, maybe it would be funny or humorous to us. But we just look at this and think, I have no idea what this is, because we lack that shared knowledge. So this is still satire, but we don't get the reference, so we don't find it funny. So there are two sort of main types of satire that are worth discussing. The first is Horatian satire. So there was a guy named Horace way back when. And this is sort of soft, gentle, cheeky, and optimistic. So you're thinking of The Simpsons, if you're familiar with that show. It's poking fun at sort of the sort of family of, lazy father, hardworking mother, the youngest child being ignored, even though, she's very clever and so forth. The sort of boyish, annoying American male teen boy, and the smarter daughter. So, but it's all in sort of good fun and it's quite playful and quite silly. Then we've got Juvenalian satire that's a little bit more darker. So we've got The Simpsons, then we've got over here the much darker Family Guy that's, a little bit meaner, a little bit angrier, perhaps a little bit upset or pessimistic. So pessimistic means that the future is not bright, things are going to work out poorly. And I think even the images that we've got here sort of serve that out. It's a little bit more complicated than saying that one is, bright and happy and the other one is dark and sad, but it's not too dissimilar, and you might be able to sort of make yourself sound very clever by using these terms. So if you're looking at a satire or you're studying a satire, the questions to ask are, firstly, what is being made fun of, or perhaps who is being made fun of? Is it a parody, so making fun for fun's sake? Is it satire, making fun for a purpose? What tone is it? Horatian, Juvenalian, positive or negative? And what shared knowledge is used? So if you didn't understand something, would it still make sense? And that's the shared knowledge that we're talking about. So I think that's a useful little primer to give you some context and some vocab to use when talking about satire.